The film In the Lost Land opens with a world destroyed by a huge meteoroid that hit the planet and reduced everything to ashes. There are only a few survivors and a little city left. These individuals are members of a church that is governed by the patriarch, whose stringent rules must be followed at all costs. A witch named Grey resides in this city and fulfills everyone's most ardent desires. The patriarch gives the enforcer the order to hang her in front of the entire congregation because of fear that the faithful will leave the church and join Grey in creating a new community. The platform beneath Grey's feet is pulled away by the enforcer. When he departs, Grey hypnotizes Luon, one of his soldiers, using her magic. Luon shoots himself while feigning to be hanged, but the bullet actually breaks Grey's rope and releases her. Then she creates the appearance of coming closer. One of the enforcer's soldiers unintentionally murders his own comrade when he attempts to shoot her. The enforcer returns with the noise. After killing the bewildered soldier, he looks around but is unable to locate Grey. She taunts the men while hiding in the shadows, then comes out to kill them one by one. The enforcer begs her to kill him, as she eventually puts a knife to his throat. Rather, she throws him from the gallows and leaves. The action then shifts to Boyce, who is attacked by a group of highwaymen as he passes a tunnel. A two-headed snake materializes out of nowhere and bites the bandit as he goes for his weapon. Boyce seizes the opportunity and uses his superb shooting to take down the remainder of the group. After everything is said and done, it is evident that he is not your typical traveler, but rather the greatest bounty hunter in the country. The Queen and her closest advisor are then introduced to Grey. Grey asks a high price in exchange for the Queen's desire for him to harness the power of a shapeshifter. She commits to doing the assignment by the following full moon, which is in 6 days. Grey is later warned by the Queen's advisor that her scheme is flawed and is urged not to serve the Queen. Despite her reluctance, Grey vows to follow his warning because she feels obligated by debt and an unbreakable commitment. Now Grey has to balance two conflicting orders. In her quest to track down the shapeshifter, finally the beast roars loudly, shattering Grey's spell with terror. The narrative shifts to the Queen next to her extraterrestrial king as he lies dying. Knowing that Boyce's expertise is essential to her goal, Grey goes looking for him. In exchange for traveling with her to the Lost Lands, where the shapeshifter's ability can be seized, she offers him a substantial reward. Grey is adamant despite Boyce's warnings that the road is lengthy, treacherous, and full of devils. Grey is attacked by the church's search parties after they eventually catch up to him in a tavern. Boyce and Grey escape before being apprehended. The patriarch, suspecting a plot, gives the enforcer the order to immediately arrest the Queen after learning of her covert meeting with Grey. Grey and Boyce are pursued by the enforcer and her soldiers to a far-off city, where they seek safety at Boyce's friend's house. We hear about Boyce's past over dinner. He fought monsters to survive until he arrived at the protection of the walled city after his parents were slaughtered when he was a child in the Lost Lands. They continue traveling the following morning and arrive at a cable car station perched atop a large structure. They are ambushed by the enforcer's men as they are about to cross. A vicious fight breaks out. Boyce battles with lethal accuracy, and Grey hypnotizes and attacks their enemies with her sorcery. The two board the cable car and flee as the enemy approaches. In the cable vehicle, Boyce and Grey fight frantically. The enforcer instructs her soldiers to cut the supporting cable. The vehicle stumbles and starts to fall, but it collides with a rock face. But they manage to pull themselves to safety using their knives and sheer willpower. As the enforcer sees this, she lifts her sniper rifle and kills Grey. However, she appears to be under a hypnotic spell as seen through the scope's lens. Believing they had disappeared, she lowers her rifle and blinks. Boyce and Grey disappear without being noticed. Boyce had taken a bullet wound during the battle. He grimaced in agony, pulled it out himself, and Grey bandaged the wound. Arriving at the palace, the Queen has found out she is expecting a child and has an heir. She is no longer forced to put up with the alien monarch, and she understands that she will forfeit the authority he gave her if she kills him. She kills him anyhow and propagates the myth that he passed away from a disease. Boyce and Grey then reach a city inhabited by demons. Though they appear human, the creatures are horrifying and deranged. Given that demons are afraid of fire, Boyce oils the ground and lights it on fire as one lunges toward Grey. Demons continue to rise from the dirt. While Grey's magic fails due to the sheer number of attacks, Boyce cuts down the nearest one until the demon leader appears. Gray looks him in the eye, stoops down, and tells all the devils to go. Seizing the opportunity, she transforms each demon into ash by summoning roaring flames in her palms. Boyce then inquires, "I never felt the heat. What caused you to start that fire?" Gray grinned. "It wasn't genuine. All I did was make it look like fire. Their own fear killed them." They continue on into the nearby city of Leland. The enforcer and her soldiers close in as they cross a chasm on a flimsy railroad bridge. No other way out. To encourage them, Gray dashes to the end of the bridge. Gray jumps into the abyss at the edge. She is caught by Boyce on a ledge below. Every chasing soldier and the train plunge to devastation. The patriarch is terrified by the news of this atrocity. He worries that Queen Gray may side with his worst foe and deprive him of his position of religious power. By warning that the queen intends to cause destruction, he rallies his supporters. However, the queen secretly woos her own advisor, who was previously her faithful man, and uses him to have the patriarch and his supporters put to death. In last, Boyce and Gray arrive in the cavern where the shapeshifter resides. The walls are lined with the skulls of former hunters. Gray continues despite Boyce's warnings. After putting long, silver-tipped nails on her fingers, she reveals her actual mission. "You believed I was unaware? Your secret was exposed by my magic. The shapeshifter is you. I was paid to murder you here so I could take your position of authority." Boyce's body morphs as her words reverberate, and he becomes a huge wolf with an increase in power. He can't help but lunge at Gray. Gray must now engage in combat. Boyce sees a flock of birds swooping toward him as she uses her magic to hypnotize him. He slows down, failing to fend them off just as a huge bird dives in. Gray uses her silver nails to cut at him. Boyce's body then transforms back into a human as she disappears into the clouds. When he regains consciousness, he is feeble and shackled. Shapeshifters are susceptible to silver, it turns out. When she sutured him, Gray had surreptitiously inserted a silver coin beneath his skin, draining his vigor. She kneels next to him and says she's sorry. She mumbles, "I don't want to do this, but I have to because of my debts." Boyce exclaims, "I have a wish of my own. Remain with me." Gray's eyes well up with tears as he proclaims his love. "Everything has a cost," she cautions. She must satisfy the queen's demand or his, despite the fact that she is just as stuck as he is. Boyce transforms into his actual form as the full moon returns, and Gray kills him with a vicious dagger drive. The following morning, we see Gray standing with Boyce's abandoned wolf pelt. When Gray returns, the people outside, who have been oppressed by the church for a long time, joyfully rebel. They demolish the church's massive cross as they storm it. After that, Gray approaches Jairus, the queen's advisor, and shows him Boyce's pelt. She says that in order for it to absorb his power, the queen must anoint it with her blood. Reminding her of his request to drop the queen's plan, Jairus objects. The surprise is revealed by Gray. The queen became a shapeshifter in an attempt to win your love. However, she was unaware that there was just one, Boyce. She had to kill him in order to become like him. "You can take the queen for yourself now that Boyce is no longer alive." The queen is grieved to learn of Boyce's passing. He said, "I want to marry someone like me," and she remembers it. She doesn't finish the routine before daybreak since she is grieving. The pelt turns to ash when the first rays of sunshine hit it. She realizes her serious error after killing her final ally, Jairus, in a fit of wrath. Boyce, meantime, awakens as a shapeshifter at dawn. His skin held his vital power. Boyce is revived since the queen never used the pelt. Furious, he approaches Gray and places a knife to her throat. He insists, "Why kill me when I asked you to stay?" Gray admits calmly that she anticipated everything, and they head out on their new adventure.